guys, this is Marilyn here, and I'm with Nate Rio today, and we're going to be doing a quick interview focusing on business mindset. So, hi Nate, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Great, I'm so great. So, a lot of my clients come in and they're usually starting a new path for themselves, whether they're just like graduating from school or they're starting a new career field in their life, similar to what my mom had done. And it's a huge jump coming from the Netflix and study mindset or the raising family mindset to starting your own business. So I know that you used to be an affiliate manager for a top tier marketing industry, and you worked with clients from 6, 7, 8 figure earners, and you worked with New York Times bestselling authors, and now you are consulting other people and getting their businesses set up. So would you be okay with telling people a little bit about your story?
Yeah, for sure. So I started my entrepreneurship way back in college. I actually sold books door to door. It was the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me. I failed miserably, but I knew I was around the right people. That was with the Southwestern Company out of Tennessee. So they're still around, producing great entrepreneurs. But anyway, so I started that journey. Went on to was going to do wanted to get into marketing and sales after I got through college. Was in and out of jobs, made some good money, got into the mortgage industry, made a lot of money. Then everything, that whole industry collapsed. Kind of went through my 20s and 30s just kind of kicking tires and never really finding what I wanted to do. And I always knew I wanted to work for myself, and started trying online businesses. And like most people do, they're like, is this real? Is this a scam? Is this what's going on? I know people are making money online, and they're making money for me, I know, because I was spending a lot. So what ended up happening was I was dabbling, as they say, in online business. And at one point I started taking it seriously, and this would have been back in 2014. So I'd started I was in a dental sales job and spent a lot of time on the road and in hotels. And at night I started watching webinars and seeing what everyone was doing to make money. And I started putting up my first website and focusing on SEO and email marketing and all those activities. And then what ended up happening was I started making a little bit of money, but I never was really breaking loose. I was never really making money like everyone says that you're going to make money online, right? So what ended up happening was then I relocated to Denver, and I lost my job. I was downsized, and I think that was very fortunate, because what I find in my experience is most people don't have that epiphany, or that crap. Life is tough, and the 9 to 5 and working your way up in a career isn't always as it's cracked up to be. So that was kind of my first experience with having to change my mindset. So anyway, lost my job in sales, a really good sales job, and I was really starting to get serious about growing and building my online business. So it was very scary because I didn't make any money at this point. So anyway, went to a local meeting, and I had been on someone's email list, which I'm sure a lot of listeners are, they get on people's email lists, and I never took action. There was a top tier affiliate marketing company that was promoted to me, and I never took action. And don't know why. Up until this point, I'd spent about $15,000 on my education, an online business up to that point. So for some reason, I couldn't come to terms with $49 payment, right? So anyway, I ended up going to a meeting. Everything resonated with me because I had learned everything that they were talking about. And I'm like, why isn't this working? Well, it turns out I didn't have a system. All right. So I realized that, okay, this was the next step. And this was a top tier, a high ticket affiliate program. So I was able to make anywhere from, $1,000 to $10,000 just with a front end sale. So anyway, I took a leap of faith. I had, a few $100s left in my bank account, and I flew halfway across the world and was going to work under, a mentor who was, a major player in this industry. So I worked my way up, and then I was the affiliate manager, got to work with, 6, 7, and some 8-figure earners. That's $10 million a year for those of you keeping track at home. And, got to do webinars with people, and made a lot of good connections, and likes of Davin Michaels, who's an outsourcing genius, has multiple companies there. Raymond Aaron, who's has helped a lot of my colleagues write books and author books, and he was a New York Times bestselling author for Chicken Soup books, things like that. So, kind of my journey, and then to kind of tie this back to what we're talking about today with mindset. My first challenge was when I was in Denver and I lost my job, and I really felt the effects of everything that I'd been reading. Mindset is so important because you just get really down on yourself. That was probably a very pivotal point in my life, or a pivotal point in my life. So having to, just pick myself up each day and have the confidence to move forward and now to pursue my dreams. So yeah, that's kind of what brought me here today. And now I'm on to other ventures and consulting and using my knowledge that I've learned to help other people set up their online businesses. So.
Okay, wow. That is definitely, we all go through so many struggles, and I think that's a huge turning point for people in their mindsets. But what would you say was, it sounded like you already had like the mindset of working for yourself, which I would say that a lot of people who start their own business kind of do, but they don't necessarily go out there. But you had lost your job, and that kind of gave you that time so that you can say, all right, this is me time. I'm going to do it for myself. But what would you say were the like 3 things that you had to do every day to kind of like set your short-term goals, long-term goals, to create, like actually like take the leap to setting your business plan?
Yeah, I think first off, the first thing is you got to know what you want. So for me, it was very clear. I knew I wanted to be an affiliate marketer, which means I wanted to promote other people's products. I had seen people doing that, and I'd seen young and old doing it, people with a lot less intelligence than me doing it. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong. I'm missing some piece of information. So I think the first thing is you need to be clear with your goals and where you want to do, what you want to be. I want to tell you a real breakthrough, a couple moments I had in my life.
Okay.
And then that's going to segue into the second thing I'm going to talk about. It's kind of being grateful. So my slogan or my catchphrase the past probably year now has been, be careful what you wish for, right? And that's right in tune with mindset and, The Secret and kind of law of attraction and things like that. So I had, just like yourself, I lived in Chicago for a long time. And I remember, I shared a dorm or not a dorm, but an apartment with a bunch of people. And I always remember going to these parties or whatever, and people would have these beautiful lofts in this downtown, a nice view of the city. And I remember thinking I always wanted to live in a posh, really nice 1-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom apartment overlooking a beautiful city, right? Okay, so, and then, a year and a half later now, I'm over in Malaysia, and I get that. And I'm like, wow, I've always wanted to do this. And I had an epiphany, like, here it is, So I attracted that, right? I also, there was a point in my life I remember growing up, and I used to spend a lot of time with my grandparents, and one of the things I remember, she would always used to make cantaloupe and cut cantaloupe for me. And there was a point in my life I remember where I'm like, man, I haven't had cantaloupe in literally 2 years, and I loved it as fruit, right? So then when I was, in my dental sales days, I remember we would go to hotels all the time, and they'd have the continental breakfast. And I remember saying to myself one day, I am so sick of eating cantaloupe. And then that was kind of like a huge aha moment. So, I had that, be careful what you wish for. Like I asked for cantaloupe, and, a couple years later it was drawn to me, right? And then I asked for that 1-bedroom apartment, and it was drawn for me. Same thing was with my sales job. After I was kind of going through my 20s, and I knew I wanted to get out of the mortgage business and into medical sales. And that was my dream job at that time. And then I got that, So I think knowing what you want and being clear on that, because it's going to start attracting things to your life. And then the other thing is, being grateful for because what happens is a lot of times people set their goals so low, and then they attain them, and they're not even grateful for that. So what you're doing is you're shutting down that law of attraction to attract more things to you. So yeah, I had that experience with, the cantaloupe and then and living in the posh apartment. And then the last thing for me was, obviously getting into the online marketing industry. And, I think a lot of people would, trade places with me just for those experiences. And I'm so grateful, because though it was tough along the way, and a lot of challenges financially and, with mindset, but, I'm so grateful now because it's just going to leverage and springboard me into the future. So the three things, are being clear with your goals, being gracious, and I think that to summarize, the last one is just set your goals really high, because as they say, if you aim for the stars, you hit the mountaintops, you're doing better than most people. So I think that that's really important.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that. Cantaloupe is still one of my favorite fruits, so that's awesome. I just have one more question. So going into the online business and having a business mindset, you typically, for online marketers, we usually work alone because we can work from home. How do you keep your mind focused, and how do you keep it ready to implement ideas every day instead of going off to watch Netflix or figuring out?
It's tough, and that's what people don't understand. Again, one of my mentors, and I'll give him some credit, Matt Lloyd, the CEO of Mob. He one of the things I took from him was that we all procrastinate. The best of us do. The successful people just find a way to overcome it. We all get sucked into Facebook. You really have to set guidelines. And I think I'm at that point in my life now. I've read all these things, and you're like, yeah, but you get to the point where you have to start implementing them. So for me, it's really getting on a tight schedule and sticking to that, and being a slave to your schedule. I read a story online just recently about I can't remember which company it was, one of the big upstarts in the tech world or something. And anyway, there's this guy who works he basically is the CEO at two companies, and he has his schedule just down pat. He's like Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at the one company, Tuesday, Thursdays, and then Saturday mornings at the other one. And another thing which a lot of people are learning too is get in that your exercise routine, your daily rituals, your meditation, your goals, your mindset, stuff like that, and continue to learn. So when you start hanging around successful people, and I know that you've done this too, you just start seeing like, wow, they're just at a different level. They're like a machine, whereas the rest of us are just kind of coasting through life and praying for the weekend. Wherever all these successful people are just like go 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 go. So that is so important. So when people maybe someone who's listening to this is just at the beginning of that journey, and they're getting ready to maybe start an online business or start some type of business, that you need to realize that if it's to be, it's up to me, as they say. So you have to change your mindset from the start. You have to mimic what these successful people are doing, and you have to be all in. You can't quote unquote half-ass, as they say, right? You can go full speed or half-fast, right? Or half-assed, right? So anyway, you have to be all in, and that includes your mindset. So constantly be reading. I get sucked into Netflix every once in a while too, but I have to put a timer on it. I have to say maybe 30 minutes a day, half an episode, or maybe if I'm binging, it's maybe one episode of something I'm catching up on. But I have too many projects to do and just not enough time. So that's where the growth happens. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that was very thorough, and I appreciate it. So
cool.
Those are all the questions that I have
Awesome.
for today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You betcha. All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks, Nate.
Sure.